All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome on into today's edition of Union Match Recap. As again, we are sitting live outside of Subaru Park right after the Philadelphia Union on a midweek match, and we have two rivalry matches. And we kind of made a joke about it during the preview show, but two matches within the Eastern Conference, all local teams, and in the first one, the Union, well, left a lot to be desired. Now, they did walk away with a point, which is also very important when the Union are still trying to climb the table, and they played a lot of matches over, obviously, the entire season. But specifically in the MLS, you've had now back-to-back weeks where you've had actually 3 straight weeks where you had back-to-back matches in a single week. And for the Philadelphia Union here, oh, man, we have a lot to digest, but the attack still remains to be the problem. The defense was solid. Andre Blake made some big saves, but against this DC United team, it was clear as day that this is a beatable team. And for 90 minutes, not really much crazy opportunities here for the Union, but they could not be clinical in the final third, and that remains to be a problem here with the blue and gold. And we're now talking about a 0-0 draw like it is a loss. If you kind of talk to some of the fans walking through Subaru Park after this match, the mood is not positive, because when you bounce out of CCL and bounce out of US Open Cup, and you got 6 matches here in the MLS coming up consecutively where, fans are thinking that they're going to climb the table, get to the top of it. So this is definitely a little bit of a bummer, but like I mentioned, a lot of soccer left to be played, and this is going to get figured out. I'm truly confident that this will get figured out here for the Philadelphia Union. But before we continue diving into this, I want to formally welcome everyone into today's Union Match Recap. Of course, I'm your host at Barcelo Philly, live again outside of Subaru Park, Chester, Pennsylvania. And of course, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are a Union fan, Philly sports fan. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe for more Philly sports, as we talk Philly sports here all the damn time. Right now, just mainly Union, but don't worry. Trust me. Just trust the process. Actually, I don't know if I should be saying that anymore. But regardless, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into this matchup. And as always, we're going to start off with the starting lineup for your Philadelphia Union. Now, the lineup, it was weird because it's not really what you see here on the screen. It was like a 3-4-2-1. 4-3-2-1 is what you have here on ESPN.com. But it was weird because for most of the first half, what you saw was a lot of Glezis and Elliott staying home. Wagner or Harriel were moving all way up in the pitch, and then the other guy. So if Wagner was going up, Harriel was coming right back down into that back line. It just, honestly, the lineups were a little confusing, but Jim was trying something different. And obviously, you're missing a couple players like we talked about during the preview show, and so this is what kind of led it to this. So, according to ESPN, we had a 4-3-2-1. Blake in goal, of course, Wagner, Elliott, Glezis, and Harriel as your back line. Bedoya, Flock, and Real as your midfield. We'll talk about that in a second. Gazdak and Torres as your 2 attacking midfielders. And, of course, Julian Carranza as your lone striker up top. Now, throughout the first half, DC, for the most part, had the better opportunities, but it was still an evenly contested match. Christian Benteke, who what I was really curious to see how he would do coming back. Now, remember, DC sat him on Saturday against Nashville so that he could play in this matchup here on Wednesday. And in the first half, he really had one good opportunity where he was able to carry the ball from the right-hand side into the center of the final third, getting between Elliott and Harriel, and he gets an outside the boot shot. Couldn't curl in enough. That was really the only real good opportunity that he had there. A couple nice opportunities, obviously. I won't blanket on his name here. Q De Pietra, who got the game tire, the game saver, I guess you should say, last Saturday for DC. He had a nice opportunity here in the first half. So not a lot of crazy opportunities here for DC, but we would go into halftime with a 0-0 match. Now, in the start of the second half, it got a little more chippier in the second half, to be honest with you guys. But again, nothing really crazy. It does also look like, so it does feel like that in the second half, the Union kind of opened things up. We'll talk about the substitutions in a second, but that definitely helped with that as well. But some better opportunities in the second half here for the Philadelphia Union. But in the end, we had 4 minutes of injury time, but it felt like there should have been 6 or 7, to be honest with you. You had the incident where Michael Urre just runs into Canals, and they were down for a little bit. But at the end of the day, the Philadelphia Union would walk away with a 0-0 draw. They had some good opportunities at the end of the match, and unfortunately, they just could not get it done. DC had some solid opportunities as well. This was a pretty evenly contested match. So I think that's why a lot of people are upset. I mean, when you think about it, we're used to Philly just absolutely demolishing DC. We talked about it during the preview show, the 13-0 aggregate that they put on DC United last year in both of the matches, home and away. So in this one, we're looking here at, for the Philadelphia Union, 14 shots with 2 of them on goal. Wow, did they struggle trying to get a shot on goal. For DC, not much better. 11 shots with 3 of them on goal. But what I'm seeing from the attack right now is just a bunch of guys who are not on the same page. And that is the frustrating part about this. Now, according to ESPN in our 4-3-2-1, big problem here in this midfield was the right-hand side. When you had Real and Torres, Matt Real in general, he just looked out of place. It didn't feel like he looked comfortable out there. It didn't seem like he knew where exactly to be. And that really kind of threw things off. Now, DC did not take advantage of that, of him just being out of position way too much. But it didn't kill us in the end of the day. But Matt Real did not have a good match. Joaquin Torres, another match where you're just thinking to yourself, was that a fluke, what happened against Columbus? Because it kind of feels like that right now. And when I'm watching Joaquin Torres predominantly, and this is important because this was the guy who we signed, or I guess we traded away from Montreal, to be that Corey Burke type, that super sub, that Elsinho type to come into the second half and bring a different spark. Now, obviously, he has to start because of injuries and because of call-ups and all that good stuff, but it just seems like this man is thinking way too much. And obviously, without his left leg, he ain't shit. Quite literally, this man can't do anything else without his left leg. That's why you see all those freaking spin moves. But in general, like, he's just doing way too much. I mentioned and I connected to Jamiro Montero because when Miro was here, we all knew Miro was good. We all knew Miro, when he did his job, he was really good at it. And it kind of feels like Joaquin's kind of falling into. I don't think it's arrogance. I thought Miro's kind of his extraness was a little arrogant, but this one is just him just overthinking, trying to do something. And that's the problem. A lot of these guys are trying to make something out of nothing, and that's kind of what lends to the miscommunication, an attack that just doesn't seem in sync. Like, how many times you get to the final third and Nathan Harriel is not even expecting a pass from Alejandro Bedoya, or Ali or Nate are fighting for a ball out in the wing, and it just looks discombobulated. It's not the Union soccer that we are accustomed to. With that being said, look, you had some weak links in your midfield. I know, by the way, Leon Flock playing centrally as a central defensive midfielder, and my dude literally can't get a shot off. He has more block shots than I don't know who. I mean, he's got more block shots than shots on goal. Like, it's just the fact of the matter. We love our Leon Flock, but we all know it's kind of an issue when he is in the attack. But the problem with this lineup here is that if you're going to run a single forward, number one, you need that forward to be on, and number two, you need to get that service on. And the problem is that the chemistry was just off, so the service was just flat out not there for Julian Carranza. And him and Gazdak just kind of seemed off. Gazdak was roaming a lot. Him and Carranza just, like, they were just too far back. Instead of one just being up, the other one down, trying to feed or get to the outlets. Dude, how many times tonight where Union are just trying to attack centrally and you got guys out on the outlets wide open and you were not getting them the ball? Like, get them the ball. You got Wagner, Harriel, and Baizo, guys who can cross the ball in, and we're not taking advantage of that, especially against a DC United side, which, look, their back line is a problem, and we didn't test that. We really did not test that. Even, like, in the first half, I did see a little bit of the aerial attack, especially with Kai Wagner. Kai was just kind of pinning himself back and then just pinpointing where he was going to drop his passes, his dime passes. But it just wasn't, it just didn't happen enough. And I kind of wanted to see that. I kind of wanted the unit to stretch out this back line. And you guys know that they'll always create space for midfielders to kind of creep up. And you just were not getting anything like that whatsoever. You had, obviously, Pereira comes in for Bedoya. You had Mikel Urre coming in for Joaquin Torres. You had hold on one second. So I'm trying to think here. Who else did we have come out here? Oh, we have Bruno Martinez coming out for Matt Real. And that was really all this. Oh, and Baizo comes in for Nathan Harriel. And that was really all the substitutions that you had here on the night. And when those subs came in, Again, Pereira can't get involved in match. It just feels like all the attack was going on the left-hand side with Wagner and why am I blanking so much here? With Wagner on that side, and you guys know he just always creates on that side. So it just overall was a difficult match, and we're sitting here feeling like this was a loss because you had opportunities. This DC side is not scaring anyone. Now, we talked about during the preview show, they may make the playoffs. Obviously, we all seen it before, like those last spots, and now they added an extra spot, but those last spots in the Eastern Conference is always tough. There's always going to be like two teams that are really good who miss the playoffs. And so for DC, just kind of feels like they're just going to try to run their way with Christian Benteke. They kept trying to feed him into that. I thought that Uni did a solid job kind of containing him. His best opportunity was in the second half. A nice little cross, which I do believe that cross was from O'Brien or Kilic. I think it was from Kilic. But regardless, Teke, late in the game, from across, gets a header, hits the damn post, hits the damn woodwork. And that was probably the best opportunity there. Julian Carranza with a nice little shot from the outside. And it's just, I got also, thing is, Tyler Miller, he's not that good of a goalkeeper. There's a reason why he's on his third team in 3 years. Or, no, I think it's 3 teams in 4 years, regardless. But he's a solid goalkeeper. And I do feel like in a rotation as like a second option, he'd be solid. But he just has way too many balls. And why the fuck was he so far up? Like, I get it, like, the attack is in our end, in our final third, but this dude was, like, at the midfield line. At the midfield line when DC was trying to attack. And so, hey, we couldn't even take advantage of it. Joaquin Torres has one opportunity where Julian Carranza steals the ball. Tyler Miller's trying to loses the ball, and now there's an open-ass net. Joaquin Torres gets the ball, and he just fucking just... I don't know. It wasn't even. I wouldn't even call it a shot. It was a ball that kind of just trickled away, and we just wasted a prime opportunity there to get on the board. You had the offsides call in the beginning of the match. Cool. That Daniel Gazak goal gets called off. And Gazak didn't have his best of matches either. Just way too many inaccurate passes, and just didn't feel involved as he should be in the attack. And look, the Union's attack is clearly the problem still, and we're now in May. We've played 3 months of soccer, and this team still has attacking issues. Now, we all know how this team is, though. Once the summer months come and once it gets a little bit warmer, the balls start flowing a little bit more. Guys have been playing a little bit more, and the balls start falling in. The weird part about it is that they have played over 17 matches. Where are we at? Like 19, 20 matches already? And these guys still haven't kind of figured it out, and that's where my concern is. Yes, we've played a lot of matches, but also the chemistry is not there either. If you played a lot of matches, you would figure that the chemistry would be there, and it just flat out isn't. Now, you have a tough match against New England. Now, you did sit a lot of players, and a lot of players were able to come in later in the match, but you have a New England team who are sitting in first place who did not play tonight. So they're going to be ready for you, and you know Bruce Arena hates the Union. He's going to have these guys ready on Saturday to go up against us, and guys, New England's at first place like we talked about. This is an important match. We talk about climbing the table. You got to get a good result here against New England. You got to give it a fight. Like, if you play like this, I can't tell you what's going to happen on Saturday against New England. You will be at home, which is the good part, but the attack has to be more fluid. I don't know how else to put it. I mean, it just has to be fluid. One interesting tidbit as well I want to talk about, Wayne Rooney. So obviously Wayne, I gave him praise during the pregame preview. It just kind of feels like he's just there. Like it's Wayne Rooney. He's just sitting there. It's Wayne Rooney. So he doesn't have to do anything. So what I saw, and listen, not every manager needs to be the same way, but for the most part, every manager that I've seen in this league is right there where Jim is at, right? Like right in the manager's box, looking at what's going on, talking to his guys. What did I see Wayne Rooney sitting on the bench? His assistant coach is the one that's out there yelling and looking at what's going on. I thought that was so weird. But hey, listen, it's Wayne Rooney. He's got a plan, and it's working, I guess, kind of right now. But that was definitely interesting as well. But Jim with the Air Force, with the Air Jordan 4s, that was hot. I like that. That was a good clean look. So, look, and the vibes were great. It was good to be back for myself, obviously, in the press box here today for the first time. It was really cool. I think that view is really dope, and that's why I like sitting in there. That's why I wanted to sit in there. And I was able to kind of see the issues at a different view, and it really helped me to kind of understand. I mean, today the fact of the matter is you had weak links in the midfield. But if you're going to run that type of lineup with one forward, you just need better guys behind that forward. Excuse me. But if not, if you're going to put guys like Matt Real, Joaquin Torres in there, especially Joaquin Torres right now, you need two forward. It just is what it is. You need those two forwards up there. So, obviously, the U20 World Cups is underway. So we're going to be without Quinn and Brandon, and which I know Brandon really doesn't get much minutes, but without Jack as well, which is definitely a big loss, and the unit are going to have to figure out. You're getting closer to the summer period, the summer transfer window, and clock is ticking, nerds. Clock is ticking. Shout out to Shannon Williams. Saw Shannon Williams here today. He was really dope guy, and hopefully we can maybe get a little interview with former Union legend Shannon Williams. But that's going to do it for tonight's edition of Union Match Recap. Again, the Union draw against DC, but yes, it does feel like a loss. A 0-0 draw, and we're off to New England. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe for more Philly sports. Until next time, I go my Philly. I'm telling you guys, DuPont. Talk to you guys soon.